Hi, I want to tell you a story that completely changed the way I think about healing. It's actually my own story. If you've watched my previous videos, you've probably noticed that I spend a lot of time talking about listening to the body. But I wasn't always very good at that. In fact, it's still a work in process. So, my body had to teach me, and it continues to teach me. Hi, I'm Jodi Medell, doctor of physical therapy and a functional and integrative medical practitioner. I am the founder of the Healing Continuum and the Healing Continuum method. So, what is my story? I've spent most of my life believing that if something was hard, I simply needed to work harder. I've always loved movement, running, mountain biking, skiing, being outside with nature. Pushing myself physically has always felt natural to me. And I love pushing really hard, at least hard for me. I was the person who believed that discipline could solve almost anything. And honestly, that mindset served me really well for a very long time, until it didn't. So what happened? In the past few years, something interesting started happening. I wasn't feeling stressed, at least no more stress than I typically feel. I feel like my life and life in general is pretty stressful. But I didn't feel like it was any worse. I was still working, still exercising, still taking care of people like always, still being a mom, building my practice. I'm always building my practice. And still doing all the things I've always done. Emotionally, I would have told you, I'm fine, nothing's different. But my body completely disagreed. And the way it reared its head to me was through migraines. I've had migraines since I was 14 years old. When I was younger, they were severe enough to put me into the ER. Over the years, they've changed, but recently I noticed something fascinating. My migraines often showed up around times I didn't think I was stressed. One year it was my birthday. Another time it happened while I was studying for my doctorate. Another time it was during a course of building my business. And sometimes they would come on after days of simply trying to hold everything together. My mind would say, "You're okay." But my body would quietly, maybe not so quietly, say, "No, we are carrying a lot more than you realize." And that changed quite a bit for me. What was that realization? Well, I began asking a different question. Instead of asking, why am I getting another set of migraines? I started asking, what is it that my body is trying to tell me that I haven't yet noticed? That question completely changed my relationship with my symptoms. And why does this matter? Well, I see this every day with women in my clinic. Someone tells me, I'm not stressed, but yet her shoulders are elevated. Her jaw is clenched. She's holding her breath. She hasn't slept well in months. She's exhausted. She's not recovering from exercise like she used to, and she's anxious. Her digestion is changing, her hormones feel different, and yet she genuinely believes she is fine. I understand, because I was her. I'm going to bring up the nervous system again. I brought it up in the last previous videos because I think the nervous system is very underrated and not communicated about enough. Our nervous system is extraordinary. It doesn't just respond to the stress we are aware of, it responds to everything. The conversations we avoid, the pressure we put on ourselves, the expectations that we carry, the grief we have yet to process, the years of always being the strong one. Our nervous system keeps score in ways our conscious mind sometimes does not. So what's been one of my biggest lessons? I think one of the greatest lessons my body ever taught me was this. Just because I don't feel stressed, or more stressed than what seems typical for me, doesn't mean my physiology isn't under stress. That realization changed the way I exercise. It changed the way I recover. It changed the way I work. And it changed the way I treat patients. Because now I'm not only listening to what people tell me, I'm paying attention to what their bodies are telling both of us. So today, I want to leave you with a question. Is there something your body has been trying to tell you that you've been explaining away? Maybe it's fatigue, pain, poor sleep, digestive changes, anxiety. Maybe it's headaches. Instead of asking, how can I make this stop? Try asking, what has my body been trying to tell me? You might be surprised by the answer. I've come to believe something quite deeply. The body whispers long before it screams. The more we learn to hear the whispers, the less often it needs to raise its voice. And that's really what the Healing Continuum and the Healing Continuum method are about. Learning a language that most of us were never taught, the language of our own bodies. If this story resonated with you, I'd love to have you join me each week. Here we don't just talk about symptoms, we learn to understand what those symptoms might be trying to communicate. If you know someone who feels like her body has changed and no one has been able to explain why, please share this video with her. And remember, your body is always communicating. The question isn't whether it's speaking. The question truly is whether you've learned how to listen. I'll see you next week.